Hi, this is Collectors of the Coast. I'm Cash.
And I'm Dash.
And today we are going to do our very first deck tech. And we are going to show you our gate deck. We're going to go through some of the cards in it and some of the things that you could do to actually make it better. And then we'll try to see if we can film a game of it against another almost standard deck.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna we'll go through now. All right, so this is our gate deck. This deck is it's a little bit predictable, I guess. So after you've played it a few times, you do learn some things to deal with it. But it's a really interesting deck to play. Pretty simple, but fairly powerful. So the first thing I just thought I'd show, we play this in our Valentine's Dragons deck protectors. This was my wife's Valentine's Day present, one of her presents, I guess, this year. So
Yeah.
this is she was really happy, you know. Anyways, so we're going to get into it. So this is what makes this deck go. So the first thing that makes this deck go is the Guild Summit. You're going to want 4 Guild Summits in there. You can't have a gate deck without Guild Summit. So it enters the battlefield. You may tap any number of untapped gates you control, and you draw a card for each gate tapped this way. And then also when a gate comes into battlefield under your control, you get to draw a card. So you can get into some mad draw. And you'll see we have 4 Gruul Guild Gates in here. We've got 3 Izzet Guild Gates. I just actually added the Plaza of Harmony, so we're going to see how that goes. We haven't played a game with it yet. We've got 4 Selesnya Guild Gates. You've got 4 Azorius Guild Gates, 4 Simic Guild Gates, and 4 Boros Guild Gates. So there's quite a bit of land in this. It's got 40% land. You could probably get away with actually a couple less land. I might actually recommend it depending on how you build the deck. It would be being able to trade out a growth spiral for a land would probably be good. So the engine that makes this thing go is from Throne of Eldraine, Fervent Champion, somewhat I think underrated card. This guy, when paired up with the Glaive of the Guild Pact, is really awesome early in the game. Won tons of games with those cards, right?
Yeah.
Quite often you're looking at turn 3 or turn 4, and you got a 5/1 first strike creature that can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures, and it's pretty nasty. And he's even sticks around as a blocker because he's got vigilance. So pretty good combo together. Made the Glaive of the Guild Pact and made this deck so much stronger when that came out. So pretty awesome. Also creatures in this deck. We've got a Gatekeeper Gargoyle. I thought I had 2 of
It's
them.
at the bottom of the Glaive of the Guild Pact.
Oh, I put it with, because I had 3 Glaive of the Guild Pact. I was thinking I had 4. So we've got 3 of them in there. We've got 2 Gatekeeper Gargoyles and a Gate Colossus. So the Gatekeeper Gargoyle, it gets plus, when it enters the battlefield, it gets a 1/1 counter on it for each gate you control, and it costs 6. So you get a, usually at least a 9/9 flyer for 6 mana. So you're talking about as early as turn 5, you're going to get this guy out when you see our mana acceleration. And he's pretty nasty. And Gate Colossus, again, costs you basically 4 mana to play him because he costs less for each gate you control. So you get an 8/8 that can't be blocked by weenie creatures. Whenever you put a gate into the battlefield under your control, you can put him on top of your library from your graveyard, so he comes back. So he's pretty nasty. So I only have 3 of these in here. These are the ones that you could definitely play with and add more as well, because sometimes this deck can be a little bit creature light depending on your matchup. Next card is Gatebreaker Ram, and he's awesome because he comes out so fast. So often he's a 5/5 or a 6/6 creature on turn 3 or turn 4. And he has vigilance and trample as well, so can be pretty nasty onto the battlefield. We do have 4 of them in here, and he's a very good card. So there's a lot of control in this deck. So how many of this? Sorry. We haven't had Dryad of the Elysian Grove in this. I have classically used Exploration, but Exploration, of course, makes the deck not standard. Exploration's awesome. I mean, on turn 2, you play Exploration. You're playing an extra land every turn. You get your Guild Summit going and getting extra cards every turn. You know, you can end up with 7-8 land by like turn 4 or 5. So
yeah.
And you especially get a couple growth spirals, right?
Yeah.
So
that will be so annoying.
So that kind of brings us to growth spiral. So we have 3 growth spirals in the deck. This is one where you could definitely add a 4th. This is what I talked about. You could definitely take a land out and put another growth spiral in. It just depends on how friendly your rules are that you play under. We do free redraws, so I really should be a little bit more aggressive with it. We give each other at least one free redraw depending on our matchups. We're getting a little tighter these days where we're going to start making people mulligan. We do have a Circuitous Route in here, and I do find that I actually don't think this card has been that great for us. By the time we're getting to 4 mana, we're not really wanting to have to search for gate cards. So I'm not finding this is a particularly great card. So again, I would maybe replace it with either another Growth Spiral or some other kind of mana acceleration if you're looking for the mana acceleration. The Growth Spirals, you could definitely add a 4th. We got this beautiful foil one when Dash and I were doing the Battle of the Ravnica Allegiance draft we did a little while ago, so I was pretty thrilled to get it. It's beautiful. The art on this, Seb McKinnon, is just beautiful. He's got some beautiful art in general as an artist. So we've added a couple Brazen Borrowers. This card's good in so many decks. Again, it's just stalling sometimes when you're a little slow on your startup. He can definitely stall until you can overwhelm your opponent with a bigger creature. Callous Dismissal, also great. You get yourself a 1/1 zombie army. So this has been a great card for us as well. These are cards where definitely you could play with it a little bit, maybe add 1 more of either of them. I probably wouldn't go up to 4 Brazen Borrowers, but or 4 Callous Dismissals, but certainly a second one wouldn't hurt. Okay, so our other buffs. We've been playing Staggering Insight, another good source of card draw.
Yeah.
Right? And, of course, do you want to talk about these?
We have Shadow Spear, classic card. Gives a creature +1/1, trample and lifelink. If your opponents have hexproof and indestructible, you can pay 1, remove them until end of turn.
So this is when we're in life. This is our only source of life game in the deck. So when you're getting dangerous on life gain, and your opponents maybe they're burning you, this card has been really strong. So we have 2 of those in there. You could probably put a 3rd one in and maybe take out one of the Staggering Insights. I really just only own so many Shadow Spears, so I think that's why we only had 2 in there. Let's talk about Mr. Embercleave.
Embercleave has been a very good card for us. From Throne of Eldraine, however many creatures you attack with, that's how much less it costs. And it gets double strike, flash, and it also gets trample.
Yeah, and
when you pair them
up, when you pair any of these equipment up with Fervent Champion, because he costs 3 less, equip abilities cost 3 less to put on him, it's free. So if you throw another Fervent Champion into play, you get Embercleave on him for free. So not just the first time. So it's pretty awesome. We have a couple board wipes. Gates Ablaze, which will clear all of your opponent's creatures usually off the board, because you're usually talking big time gates when you play it. It's rare that a creature survives this. The other catch to this is that when you get Gatebreaker Ram, he's bigger than the amount of gates you have.
He's 2 bigger.
Yeah, so often, you're playing a board wipe and you have Gatebreaker Ram on the battlefield and Gatebreaker Ram survives and everything else dies. So that becomes really key. We also have a Deafening Clarion in, which isn't often a game breaker for us, but that giving that second ability to get lifelink on creatures and also being able to clear out a bunch of little guys when you need it can be very valuable. So that is the deck. A couple things that we would say would maybe add a 4th growth spiral. It might be worth sideboarding another growth spiral if you're playing a little bit more serious and you're using sideboards. Maybe another Dryad of the Elysian Grove, so be able to play land faster if you want to play standard and you don't have an exploration, because they are kind of pricey to get, and if you don't own them, it's probably not really. Well, it's probably worth it, but it's not always. They're not always easiest to get your hands on. So I would maybe throw in a second Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Also, I thought the Royal Scions would be a good addition to the deck. This deck does have 4 colors of mana. The only color it doesn't have is black, so you have lots of options on what to play. Of course, with the Dryads, you get 5 colors of mana, but it's pretty limited. If you only have 1 or 2 of those in there, you don't really want to have black spells. So that's our deck. We are going to try to film a match in some way. We're not exactly sure how this is going to work out, so if it's ugly, bear with us. And yeah, this is going to be the end of this video. We will do a separate video with a match.